ago, I started self-drafting a sweater. It was the third sweater I had ever made, and I was scared of knitting patterns at this time. I didn't know any better, and I went off of the visuals of what I had seen other raglan patterns do. And so I assumed that you increase every row or round, which turns out to not be entirely true. I mean, it depends on the pattern, but in most cases, when you're doing raglan increases, you're doing your increases every other round. And my sweater turned out huge. On top of that, I didn't like the yarn that I had been using for that project, which was Drops Alpaca. This was before I learned that alpaca can be itchy on really, really sensitive skin. And I found the sweater to just be a little too itchy for me. It's not terrible, but enough for me to not want to grab it. Not to mention the fact I was pretty over it with this sweater, so it's way too cropped and the sleeves are too short. And the neckline is not exactly what I would go for nowadays. So this sweater is riddled with problems, but the main issue I have with it is how freaking cute it is. I dubbed it the Polaroid sweater because I used the Polaroid logo as inspiration for the color stripe that I did across the sweater. So in concept and as a whole, looking at it visually, I'm absolutely in love with it. But every other part of it, I don't like it. And I've known for a long time that I've either wanted to unravel and reknit it or I want to remake it entirely. And I'm going to sort of do both. In today's video, I am going to be recreating it with a different yarn and trying to address all the problems and mistakes I had made with the first version. And I don't know if I'll include it in this video. I don't know if it'll be its own video or mentioned somewhere else, but I also want to go back to the first original iteration of this sweater. And I want to fix the mistakes on there too. I want to lengthen the sweater. I want to make the sleeves longer and see if there's any other fit issues that I should address. Maybe play around with the neckline a little bit because someone in my life has mentioned that they would like that sweater. Thinking about this person, I think it would be a nice oversized sweater for them, but I would have to lean into the oversized aspect of it. So I think the width would be okay, but I would need to make it a lot longer and I would need to fix the sleeves and make those longer too. I've been wanting to do this for years and I keep dragging my feet and thinking, what the heck yarn am I going to use? Which is the hardest question to ask yourself with this project. I was very specific about the colors that I went with and I wanted to have the same colors. And it's really hard to find yarn that comes in all those colors that I would actually want to wear. But there's a yarn that I've been getting really into lately and I actually own most of the colors I would need to make this sweater. I just needed to buy one ball of yarn. The yarn I'm using is Drops Cotton Merino. I have a bunch of it in white already and then I have a ton of it in red as well, but I only need one ball of the red. They don't sell an orange that would look good with this combination of colors. I do already have some red dye on hand, so I bought another ball of the yellow because this is all I have left from a different project. And I'm going to dye half of it orange. I'm waiting on the yarn to be delivered, so I figure I'm just going to jump in head first in this sweater, and I guess we'll hope that the orange works out. I'm hoping it's one of those like build it and they will come scenarios. So that's the orange and the yellow, and then I have this green, which is just such a perfect green for this project, and the blue. It's multiple strands of yarn. So you have, I'm not taking it apart to look at the strands, but you have strands of white and you have strands of blue, and together they make this light blue color. So I'm hoping that works out because none of the other colors, I mean, the green I guess has that a little bit, but it's way more subdued on the green. But the rest of the colors, like if you look at the red, like that's a solid red. So fingers crossed that it looks okay. I think it will. So that's the plan. I spent a lot of time thinking about the construction and I wasn't sure if I wanted to stick with the raglan construction or kind of mix it up and go with a different one. Maybe a circular yoke would look better, but really brainstorming and thinking about it for a while, I want to stick with the raglan because of the way that the color goes from the body to the sleeves. I really liked that. So I'm going to stick with the raglan, but I'm going to make some adjustments to the actual construction of the raglan and see if that can help me out a little bit. So the first thing is I want to do a little bit of neck shaping on the raglan. And the way that I'm doing that is casting on the stitches for the back part of the yoke and then the sleeve parts. And then I'm just casting on one stitch for the front portion. And I'm going to work back and forth and add a stitch every row or every other row. I'm a little undecided on that, so I need to check my math. And I'm going to do that for about 10 rows, and then I will cast on my remaining neckline stitches and join in the round and continue working the raglan yoke. This part isn't important. I think I just need everyone to know that I have managed to procure the world's tastiest watermelon. So I'm just going to go ahead and eat half a watermelon. Then I'm going to watch Rear Window while I work on the sweater. Okay, does this or does this not look like a piece of fish? It totally looks like a piece of fish.
She expects me to marry her.
That's normal.
I don't want to.
It's abnormal.
All right, I finished my movie, Rear Window, always a classic. So here's a little update. I've reached like the peak of my shoulders, and now my body stops increasing in size quite as rapidly for a while. So I'm gonna switch. Instead of increasing on the raglan seams every other round, I'm gonna increase every 3 rounds. So knit 2, increase 1, knit 2, increase 1. She's looking good. I mean, there's not much to show at this point. Let's do an update. So I've made some progress on this, and I'm, first off, really loving how it's coming together. My general process when I'm doing sweaters from the top down is to start with the neckline, not doing the collar yet, just starting with the neckline and working my way down the yoke until I run out of yarn for my first ball of yarn. And then I put everything on hold, and then I go in and add the collar. I like to have the collar added before I split for sleeves because I need to know how much is the sweater going to scrunch up, and I have more information to work with as far as fit goes and where everything's actually going to be sitting before I get in too deep. I'm really liking the fit. I was nervous about it for a second, but I'm really liking it. So I'm going to continue doing increases for the raglans every 3 rounds instead of every other round like how I started. And for the collar, I started a second ball of yarn. So I think I'm going to use up the rest of this ball, seeing how far that gets me. Hopefully, I think like another 2 inches along the yoke part of the sweater, because once I have those 2 inches, then I'm going to go in and start adding the colored stripes. I have a while until the yarn shipment comes in. Like, I think I have at least a week, so I've got time to kill. All right, see you on the flip side. I can't believe that worked out. This is a very good orange. I'm so happy with this. Anybody that knows anything about yarn dyeing was probably cringing during the entire yarn dyeing sequence that I showed. I do not know what I'm doing. I didn't look up what to do. I just read the back of the bottle and was like, all right, I should wing it. And here we go. I did not let it sit in the bath for as long as you were supposed to because I was worried it was going to be too red. And when I pulled it out, it looked like this red. And I got really concerned, and I knew it would lighten up as I washed it. And I washed it with dish, like I washed it aggressively, probably 7 or 8 different like rinse and repeats with soap for me to get it to a point where I don't feel like it's going to bleed on anything now when I use it. I'm pretty confident this isn't going to bleed, but even if it does, it's not going to show up in the red, and it's so faint, I would not be concerned about it bleeding into the yellow. That's the nice thing about this stripe sequence is that it's going in color order, so even if the colors do bleed onto each other, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. And I'll also try to remember to wash this one in lukewarm or colder water to prevent bleeding. all said and done, I am very content with this. And now I have my color lineup. These are the 3 colors that I have so far, and then already in stash, I actually have 3 different types of green in this yarn. It really wasn't hard for me to pick out which one I want. I'm definitely going with this shade of green. And then I have 2 different blues, which is where I got a little bit stumped. Also, wow, how nice do these go with my shirt? Oh, looks like I made a crochet circle with that. Don't know what my plans were there. I went back and forth on the blues for a minute, but I'm definitely going with the lighter blue. After seeing the full lineup, it just makes more sense. So this is my color lineup. I'm really content with this. When you get into knitting and you start exploring with color a little bit more, unless you dye your own yarn and experiment quite a bit, you're kind of at the mercy of the colors the yarn comes in. So I could be picky and choosy about the exact shade of green, saying I want it to be a little bit more yellow toned, a little bit more desaturated or saturated. None of which is true. This green is perfect for this project. But you kind of have to get what you get or learn how to dye yarn. The fun thing about this project now is I get to continue it. It's been on hold for a week because I've been letting this dry and working on a few other projects. So the next step for me is to do 5 rounds of the orange, and then I think after that I'm going to try it on because I need to know when to split for sleeves. I've elected not to wind this into its own ball of yarn since I plan on using it immediately, so I'm going to try and knit the entire orange stripe in one go because I don't want to wind this into a ball. I'm just going to work directly from the Swift. You might even say, I'm a Swiftie. I'm not, but I'm also not a Taylor Swift hater, so do with that information what you will. Okay, the orange stripe is done, and I have tried it on, and it is definitely time to split for sleeves. On something where I'm working top down like a raglan or a circular yoke, when I go to split for sleeves, one method that I use to figure out how many stitches to cast on, other than just like winging it, I like to put stitch markers underneath and kind of chain them together until I get it to a length that I feel comfortable with and like, and then I take the stitch markers off and measure how long that is and cast on however many stitches I need per my gauge. I do wish this orange was a little bit more saturated, but I should hold my judgment until I have finished all the colors to truly claim that. At this phase on working on a sweater, I tend to get really in my head about every little decision. So I'm trying not to do that right now. I was watching a video, I cannot remember what it was. I'm pretty sure it had something to do with interior design or architecture. But it was essentially when you buy something, you fall in love with it and then see the flaws. When you make something, you see the flaws and then fall in love with it. So I am using that as my mantra to finish the stripes, because when I see the whole thing, the whole vision, it might play out better. Because this isn't just a standalone orange, it's a player in an entire like rainbow of color going on. So I need to see how it looks in the context with all the other colors before drawing any sort of conclusions. I don't hate it though. I think I just wish that it was a little bit more like, you know, oranges, like the fruit oranges, just a tidge more saturated and orangey like that. But I'm going to split for sleeves. I'm going to finish up the color work and we'll see what's going on then. Sleeves are done and they're beautiful. They're sleeving. And I love this yarn so much. Oh my gosh. Drops Cotton Merino. I've been buying it for a while now and I've just started using it this year. Over the past few months, so I think this will be my second sweater that uses this yarn. I'm working on a third one right now, doing a cabled sweater with the darker blue. And I love working with it. I love working with it. I love the feeling of it. It's very soft, and I think it's the best of both worlds for cotton and wool. So for people like me that have, you know, a bit of a budget and are really sensitive to itch, I think it's a good option. Should we do a little pre-reveal try-on? Make sure everything's fitting the way it is. I mean, I've already tried it on, but this is just for you guys. Oh my gosh, I can already tell this is gonna fit so well. I am so excited to finish this. Yes. Okay, real talk. We got to kick it into high gear. So, you know what? This is going to be a long story. I should put this on my needles and start knitting so that I can be productive while I tell you this long story. So my in-laws are doing a trip right now, and my husband is in Minnesota for 2 weeks, 1 week to see and visit family, and then 1 week, the second week is to do this trip with the whole family. And by the whole family, I mean like mom, dad, siblings, uncles, aunts, like the works. So my in-laws are doing a week-long cabin trip together, and my husband is so sad because I am not going with him. He actually likes me and stuff. It's creepy. And this trip is 2 weeks. So the first week he's spending with family, and then the second week is their like big in-laws family trip with the parents and siblings and uncles and aunts and cousins. So I dropped my husband off at the airport last week for his Minnesota adventure. And on the way to the airport, as I was dropping him off, I was like, oh, do you know what'd be so funny? Is if I just showed up at the cabin without him knowing. If I could fly to Minnesota without him knowing, I would find that to be really funny. And I couldn't stop thinking about it. So on the way home from the airport, I guess I decided I don't need money and bought a plane ticket. And I am flying out at midnight on Friday. I'm gonna land at 6 in the morning. I'm gonna get myself a rental car and I will drive a few hours to rural Minnesota. And I think I'm deciding not to tell anyone. No one's gonna know that I'm doing this except my family and like a friend. For safety reasons, someone in the world should know where I'm at. But my husband, no, I'm not going to tell him. I'm not going to tell the in-laws, no one at the cabin. But I'm also wondering, how do I make it funniest? Like, what's funnier than me just showing up, right? Because that's already pretty funny. Do I have a weird sense of humor? Is this not funny? Is this just like a thing to do? I'm strictly doing this for humor purposes. And because I love my husband. I've been asking him if he wants like a YouTube husband name, because normally people say like Mr. and then like what their channel name is. So it'd be like Mr. Breathing Yarn, but neither of us are really into that. How many times in your life do you get to show up and surprise somebody? It's Wednesday now and I leave Friday night. So I have like 2.5-ish days, depending on how time works. Can I finish the body of the sweater in 2 or 2.5 days? I honestly don't know. And nothing bad's gonna happen if I don't finish this before I leave, but it would just be so perfect to wear to a lake trip. Stay tuned. I'm gonna progress my way through the body of this sweater. I've been recording for half an hour and I'm on round 2 of the body of the sweater. An essential step in the sweater making process that no one talks about is making sure that you pre-season it before binding off. She also does fantastic quality checks. Just look at those giant eyes, ripe for attention to detail. It is Thursday. I have finished work and I was able to make some progress on the sweater last night and this morning. So we'll see how much I can get done tonight. I'm gonna really go hard on this tonight and see what happens. I am still unsure if I can finish this in time for me to leave because I leave tomorrow evening. However, we are overdue for a proper tangent in this video, my friends. I have always struggled with packing. I am a classic overpacker because I like to dress based on mood and I have a really difficult time picking and choosing what clothing to actually pack for a specific trip. It's not even like, oh, what would I wear for this trip and the things I'm doing? I can figure that out. It's just like, what would I want to wear? I don't know what I'm gonna want to wear next week. But about 5 years ago when I was on Instagram, I saw a post of a girl that went on a trip and she wore exclusively pink. The entire trip, everything was pink. And the intention of that video, I believe, was to be like, oh, look at how cute it is to have like a color theme for my trip. That's fun. And while it is super fun, I thought it was also totally genius. Like that method of packing, genius. And it has really helped me not be as much of an overpacker. So lately when I've gone on trips, I've tried to pick a like color story for the trip. And for summer, there are only 3 colors that are heavily represented in my closet. That is blue, red, and white. White is getting packed with everything because that's just the majority of my closet. So that has to come along with us. Last time I did a trip, I did exclusively white clothing, which is a bold take on a trip, but I didn't stain anything, so yay. This trip, I'm thinking white and blue is what I'm gonna commit to. So I just went through my closet and grabbed all of my blue summer clothing. I have yet to go through it, so I'm gonna try and narrow this down because I wanna fit everything into this suitcase. I am not paying for a checked bag, Pippin. So I have 2 cotton men's button-down shirts. My jean jacket is definitely coming with me and I think I'm gonna wear it on the plane. I only have 2 pairs of sweatpants, I think, so I have the white ones and the blue ones, so I think I'm gonna bring the blue ones. I grabbed my blue socks and blue various undergarments. Swimsuit. I wanna say blue swimsuit, but I think that's implied with everything I'm showing you, and you can probably see the color. This purse is coming with my jeans. Am I gonna wear these on the plane? Or am I gonna wear a skirt on the plane? No. I don't want to pack a skirt because I'm not going to wear that a lot when I'm there. I've got my 10-year-old Crisco t-shirt, which is held up really well. Oop, another pair of blue socks. Scrunchie. Got my sleep mask. I actually have a collection of sleep masks because I like making them. Grabbed the only one that's blue. If I finish this project, I'm definitely bringing this. Maybe even wearing it on the plane, but I don't know. You never know on a plane if it's going to be ridiculously warm in there or so cold. Off-white linen pants and my linen knit tank shirt top thing. Okay, t-shirts, this is where I'm gonna slim down. So I'm thinking this as pajamas because it goes down to my knees. There will also be children present. And children can be messy and I don't want to get upset with them if they stain or destroy anything here. So I think that means I should bring my Panic at the Costco t-shirt and my Crisco t-shirt, and that should be fine. I do love my Knit Club social t-shirt. It's super cute, but I think I want to prolong the life of this, so I don't think I'm going to bring that on vacation. That's fine. I think this can all fit in the bag, and just picking blue colors narrowed it down significantly and helped make a lot of the decisions easier. A tip for the pale white ladies out there, if you're wearing something really sheer, I personally have found more luck, and this obviously depends on the undertones of your skin. I lean a lot more pink, but I have found that pink actually blends in a lot better than the like nude shades of underwear, because they're either way too light, way too dark, or just like orange. Okay, I still have plenty of room in this. I think if I really wanted to pack a blanket, I could fit that in here. So yay, we didn't overpack. I have plenty of clothes. I always pack my work laptop and power brick and mouse, even if I'm taking vacation during that time, just in case. So this is pretty much everything I'm packing, plus a necklace, and I'm gonna put on blue nail polish to go with my blue theme. Oh, I just realized what should go in that extra space. The sweater, which I should work on now so that I can get it done. Packing is tiring, y'all.
Blue dude, blue moon, kinda mysterious, shaded with someone I'm not really into. Do you need to fix it? Talking bullshit. It's hard to see you when your eyes look dull. Who's gonna save you? Who's gonna make you?
Hello. I'd like to do the thing where I like stand in the door frame and lift up my other leg, but I am genuinely scared of putting a hole in the wall. I don't think they put too much effort. Is that a bug? Not anymore. Sorry, buddy. I did it. I finished it. The sweater is done. It looks amazing. I'm beyond happy with it. And I made it to the cabin. Everyone was very surprised. My husband was so happy. It was perfect. I was there for 4 days and I wore this sweater every single day. It was a lot colder than I was expecting. Usually it's really hot and muggy there, but it was really cold and muggy there. So I definitely did not pack warm enough clothing for a summer lake trip. So this got worn every single day, which means I can do a proper review of this sweater. I do like the colors. They don't bother me nearly as much as when I first finished it. I was a little sad that it wasn't quite as saturated as the first sweater, but I've gotten over that and I think the impression still works. This cotton merino does pill a bit. I'm noticing quite a few pills already. So keep that in mind if you're planning on using this material. I do plan on using this yarn quite a bit in the future. I love the fit and feeling and just the temperature control of this so much. It's not nearly as hot as a lot of other yarns that I've worked with. There's zero itch for me. I'm just so content with this yarn that I'm going to use a lot in the future, regardless of how much it pills. I have a pill shaver. I can suck it up and do some pill shaving. It's so worth it. I did get some stains. I'll wash it and I think they'll come out just fine. I actually don't know what these stains are. It's something like, it's a crusty mystery substance, but I'm so glad I did this project. The recreation was completely worth it. And just to show you the difference, I'm going to put on the original sweater so you can see. This is the original sweater. This was done with Drops alpaca. It was, I think, my second or third sweater. And I think this material would work better if I still lived in Minnesota when it gets really, really cold in the winters. Below zero consistently for most of the winter. So the fit on the new one is definitely better than this. Like this one's way too cropped for me. The sleeves are too short. It's way too wide. I did the raglan increases too fast. And the fabric, the material is just way too warm for anything I'm realistically going to be wearing on a regular basis. All the improvements were 100% worth it. I'm so glad I did this. This is your sign. If you have a knit that could use some improvement or you want to recreate, go for it, do it. I plan on wearing my most recent version of this a lot. It's going to be one of my most worn knits, I feel like, this year. So there's nothing actually wrong with this sweater as a sweater. It's just not right for me. There is someone I know that I think would like this sweater because they've mentioned before that they really like this sweater and they want one. So I'm going to call them on that and hopefully they mean it. But I'm going to make this sleeves longer for them, and I got more of the drops alpaca in this off-white color. So I'm gonna make the body a lot longer because they're not gonna want to wear something this cropped. It's too cropped for me, which means it's too cropped for most normal humans. I think this was my first time going back to something I've already made and recreating it and improving it with completely different yarn. Usually when I go to recreate something, I unravel and remake it, but that just wasn't an option because, like I said, the yarn for the other one is just too warm. This was a very good sign for me that I should be doing more of this in the future. I can think of 4 different sweaters off the top of my head that I want to recreate because the existing yarn just doesn't work as well for me. And I also want to fix a lot of the fit issues I've noticed with those other sweaters. If I do go back and improve some of my previous sweaters, is that something you would like me to do more videos talking about, going more into what is actually being improved, getting a little bit technical? I try not to go full technical with this channel. That's just not the intention for me. We're more here for the vibes, but I like to sprinkle it in from time to time, kind of touch on it a little bit. So let me know if that's something you'd like to see more of. But all in all, I'm so happy with this sweater. I'm so happy I did my last minute surprise trip to Minnesota. Everything worked out really well. It's been a good week. It's been a really good week. I also can't believe I finished this in time. I was for sure like, there's no way. There's no way. But there was a way.
Bluetooth, that move, sort of witty and jaded, but let's not talk about you. Your cowardly song.